So we are going to learn an important lesson today, and it is of verbs. So what are verbs? So we've been learning so far most of the parts of speech, and today's lesson is something really, really important because it is of verbs. Verbs. We call them action words. Kriyapada in Sinhala. Doing words, so action words. So can you give some examples for action words or doing words? Yes, any examples? Listen, talk, teach. These are some of the examples for action words. Kriyapada. Okay. So let me share some of our lessons based on action words. Okay, I hope you all can see my screen. Right? So these are action words, and you call action verbs, kriyapada, right? Anyways, they are words, and if it relates to an action, then it is an action word. So let me share the link with you. So you can go to this link, click on it, and you can save it. And later on, you can use this resource on Shilpa Sayara, our website. So you can see there are so many actions in this picture. So what are they? Mopping, right? One person is mopping the floor. He mops, mop. Another one, squeezing, squeeze, mirikanama, squeezing cloth, squeeze. What is another one doing? It's unfolding or folding. Maybe folding, nama, fold. So these are some of the new words I think that you are learning today. Mopping, or some of you may already know them. Or squeeze, mirikanama, right? Orange gediyak mirikala juice ganaprat kina squeezing, squeeze. Digari not kina folding, fold. Right? Unfolding, right? And opposite word, viruddha, right? So here, one of the most commonplace verb here, run. So you can see this word itself gives a meaning. Meaning. So these verbs, unlike other parts of speech, are really, really important in English because you can just use them to communicate, to give basic meanings or actions. Like run, duanda, eat, kanda, right? So last week, those who are with me in the class may already know that I explained a bit about verb be, which is a very important verb in English grammar. So we will discuss about that also. So exist, seem, belong. So these verbs, if you take, for example, unlike this verb, run, so which has the idea of an action, right? It gives a command, right? Something like that. But here, this be, exist, be. I'll be there. Be. It shows a sort of state. යම් කිසි පිහිටීමක් ගැන එක කියන්නේ. State of being, right? පවතින ස්වභාවයක් ගැන මේවා පෙන්වන්නේ. අනිත් වචනය වගේ නෙමෙයි. Seem. It seems pretty dark, this room. මේ කාමරේ පොඩ්ඩක් කළුවරයි වගේ. This land belongs to me. මේ land එක අයිති මට. Right? So I don't like him being here. මම යා මෙහෙ ඉන්නවට කැමති නෑ. I like to be an engineer. I'm engineer කෙනෙක් වෙන්න කැමති. Be. So they all show this being. This is very important verb, set of verbs actually, because they ක්‍රියාවක් නෙමෙයි පෙන්වන්නේ. මේ run, eat, dance ඒ වගේ ක්‍රියාවක්, තනි ක්‍රියාවක් නෙමෙයි පෙන්වන්නේ. මේක පෙන්වන්නේ පවතින බවක්, existence. Right? පැවතීමක් ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට මේ අපි generally verbs ගත්තාම ඒවා කොටස් කිහිපයකට අයිති වෙනවා. They belong to certain categories and they have so many forms. So when you learn about verbs and if you want to master verbs, you have to definitely learn all these criteria. And again, you know, if you take a verb, it always has a subject. කතෘ කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා verb එකක් ගත්තොත් අපි. So if you take a sentence like Jagat speaks English. So what is the subject here? Jagat. Who speaks English? Jagat. So most of the time you see like not run. It is a command, imperative. But here speak. Jagat, since it is a subject, the subject is a singular, you add S here. Jagat speaks English. When we are learning the tenses, we'll be talking about how this S comes here, right? But for the moment, we are talking about the verbs. So only for the moment you learn that. So maybe you already know that. Jagat speaks English. So the subject is Khatru Jagat. And action. So action verbs. Action. Someone plays cricket. ක්‍රියාවක් අඟවන්නේ. And again we were talking about this be, exist, seem. So the verbs that denote the state of being. පැවතීමක් ගැන අඟවන පද ක්‍රියාපද ගත්තොත් Mala seems kind. Mala හරි කරුණාවන්තයි වගේ නේද? So seems පේන විදිහ පැවතීමක්. Yeah, the state of being we call it, right? So all verbs change can its form. Pardon me. So what is it? ක්‍රියාපදවල ස්වරූපය වෙනස් විය හැකි අතර ක්‍රියාවේ කාලය පුරුෂත්වය අනුව එය වෙනස් විය හැක. So you know, it's directly translated. So there's a small mistake. I have to correct it, right? But all verb forms, right? So they can change its form, right? For example, if you take work. So work. I work hard. I like to work. So work, to work. So that is work is the base form. මූලික ස්වරූපය ක්‍රියාපදයේ මූලික ස්වරූපය තමයි work කියන්නේ. අපි ඒක infinitive to කියලා කියනවා. Right? එතකොට I like to work. තමයි infinitive to එක එන්නේ. To work. After to always the base form comes. මූලික ස්වරූපයෙන් ලියන්නේ. එතකොට like Jagat, Saman, Mala, singular. Subject is always singular. එක වචන. එතකොට we add S. Works. So present simple singular. And past tense worked. ED. And present participle, actually we do not put them in the category of verbs because they act like some other, like sometimes they act like adjectives, some like they are called gerunds. So when you study further, you can learn those things. So these are, this is usually we call it the verb format, ing form, right? So likewise, you can see verbs have many forms. එක ස්වරූප වලින් verb එක පවතිනවා. ඒ sentence එකේ use වෙන ආකාරය එක simple present tense, the past tense, the participle, the ඒ මොකක්ද කියන එක මත තමයි අපි ඒක තීරණය කරන්නේ. Right? So here if you can go and click on these verbs, verb modules, like, you know, if you just take one type of verbs, and you can go and click on this. I already shared the link, right? So they can be helping verbs. So what are helping verbs? Right? And some can be main verbs, right? Like work, drink, mala. So there are not only one type of verbs, there are many types of verbs, right? So, and main verbs are there, modal verbs are there, linking verbs are there. So likewise, so here Mary is a teacher. So here is verb belongs to verb B. Verb B එක ගැන අපි පස්සේ කතා කරනවා in detail. මේ verb B එකේ Mary කියන එක්කිනාට ගන්න වෙන්නේ B එක අස්සේ තියෙන is කැල්ල. Right? එතකොට they කියලා ගත්තොත් අපි ගන්නේ are. They are teachers. So the past tense එක දෙයක්දී they were teachers. මේ ඔක්කොම verb B එකේ තියෙන present tense එක past tense එක. එතකොට present participle එක verb B එකේ BEING එක present participle ing form එක. Not been. BEEN නෙමෙයි. BEING එක present participle. අර work කියනකොට working වුණා වගේ. Right? So past participle of verb be is been. So I'll teach that in detail. Verb be, which is very important. One of the best, one of the most important verbs in English, which has many forms in simple present tense. Right? We were talking about first person, second person, and third person. So with those, the verb be act in different ways. Right? So just I gave you a hint what it is. So likewise, you can self-learn on this site, right? On this, you click on this link, but I will give a brief detail about that also. And the verbs, plural verbs with a singular subjects, eka katru bahu kriyapada singaling kiwot, and how to form a negative verb. Right? And phrasal verbs are there, like switch on the light. Right? Take off the clothes. Take off, galavanda. Right? Give up the job. So these are phrasal verbs. Verb එක කොයි preposition එකකුයි එක හැදිච්ච ඒ දෙක වෙන් වෙන්ව ගත්තොත් meaning එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි දෙක එකට ගත්තොත් it has a meaning and they represent a verb which represent a verb which has a similar meaning, but most of the natives use those phrasal verbs instead of using those big sometimes difficult or some commonplace verbs, right? But phrasal verbs are in my language beautiful, you know, let's listen. You can talk beautifully if you master phrasal verbs, if you learn phrasal verbs. So this you of course you can do when you are, you know, when you are going to the top most part of the language. And gerunds are also there. And gerunds, here you see, I like swimming. So as I told you in the beginning, ing. So you say, I like swimming. How comes ing is there? I am swimming. How can you say I like swimming? Yes, of course, swimming is a gerund here because it is a direct object. Like I like ice cream, I like swimming. So it has become a noun. Object with an, right? Programming is fun. Subject pronoun. So like my mother is fun. The film is fun, right? So likewise, you see some of the verbs with ing form make subject or object, which we call gerunds, right? So they behave within this sentence, right, as a clause. So, but the clause as a whole acts as a noun. So it's a noun here, you see. Object, this is an object here, this is an object in the sentence, and this is a subject in the sentence, right? So let us talk about all of them. And yeah, so let me just go to how to form the negation, the negative formation, right? So if you take do, so usually we say I like ice cream. Ice cream වලට කැමති. ඒකම අපිට I do like ice cream. So both have the same meaning, but it has a kind of, more emphasis. අපි පොඩ්ඩක් අවධාරණයෙන් කියනවා ice cream වලට කැමති. I do like ice cream කියනකොට අපි do කියන වචනේ දානවා. ඒකෙන් do like කියන එකට I do like, I like, they both have the same meaning. But when you form the negation, not like I like ice cream, you have to say I don't like ice cream. So that is how you form the negation there, the negative form, right? And there's something very important that I want to introduce when we first step into verbs, we step into a grammar with the Shilpa Sayara Foundation. Irregular verbs, because this is where you have to start when you are learning for the first time, or if you just want to brush up English verbs, this is where you have to start with. So for that, let me share some of the examples on the sides, right? So how to learn regular and irregular English verbs. So here you see, if you take an example, they live in Rome. Right? I want to learn English. So they are infinitive. Here the present simple. You all know present simple tense means if you take a column, right? And this is the base verb, base form of the verb. And then past simple comes and past participle comes. These are the three columns that you usually know, right? So similarly, so for the base form comes, sometimes we call this infinitive too, because it is once again the same, like, if you take they live in Rome, and they are, the base form. Then I want to learn English. I like to live in Rome. So similarly, it's the same. After to also comes the base form, right? Like to learn, like to live. So you don't add anything. You don't do anything to the verb. Verb එකට කිසිම දෙයක් තියෙන්නේ කරන්න නැහැ. මූලික ස්වරූපයෙන්මයි පවතින්නේ. You can see that nothing's changed. Nothing has added or taken out, right? And we use ing form or the gerund. So another word we can use is gerund for present continuous tense or past continuous tense. Like, so just to see this and read it, will you? We use the ing form or the gerund for continuous tense, like swimming is good for you. So this is what we learned earlier. And if you say continuous form, so this is a gerund, right? He is working, that is continuous. So continuous means, continuous tense. So don't think that we are jumping into right away, straight away jump into tenses, but when we talk about verbs, then we cannot stay away from tenses. But just to show that what is continuous tense and how to use ing form. So I hope that you can understand. He's working and swimming is good for you. And if we see how we use the verbs in perfect tenses, I've, the short form of I have finished. So you see, ed is added. Here ing, here ed. And if you take the verb make, the past tense is not made. Past tense is made. So these are called irregular form of the irregular verb forms, because the past tense is not simply made in a regular base of adding ed at the end of the verb. So you see the passive form even, right? It was made. So that is past participle. So we call that past participle. So you see here, base form arrive, langa venawa. Past simple, arrived. So we don't take the column present participle ing form, because you saw here, right? Not only as a verb, it acts as a gerund also. Noun, swimming, right? Dancing, subject. Yes, like that. So cold, cold, cold. Past participle also cold. Wait, waited, waited. Right? And here it's actually how you sound is same, but when it comes to spellings, instead of y, you cut y out and add ied. But you sound similar to these set of verbs. Marry, married, married. Study, studied, studied. But you see, instead of y, when you add ed, you cut that out and put I instead, and then you write ed. That's the difference. Okay, but if you take hate, hated, just d, because he is already there. Like, liked. Participle also the same, right? And here you can see some examples. And if you want to learn on your own, at your own pace, I will share that link with you. So what you can do is you can copy it and save it, and later on you can study. Right? Okay. And here you see another group set. Base form, cost, past tense also, cost, past participle also, cost. Cut, 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 hurt, hurt, hurt. You don't say hurted. That's not the past simple. Put, put, put. You never say putted. Right? So you can see the examples. And there's another set which we call irregular verbs. So these are not like just adding ed. But these sets, you see that they are different, and they are called these two sets, group 1 and group 2. Bring, past simple is brought. Past participle, again brought. So it's not bringed, strong. Buy, bought. Catch, caught. So past simple is also the same. So this is somewhat different to the two sets that we learned before. And think, thought, thought. Teach, taught, taught. Right? Win, won, won. But you see, these two are same. Right? These two sets, past simple and past participle, they are same. But they are not regular like adding ed. And what are the irregular verbs? Of course, these are irregular verbs because they are not as regular. ඒකාකාරී විදිහට නෙමෙයි යන්නේ මේක. එතකොට මේක regular නෙමෙයි, මේවට අපි irregular කියනවා. Right? මේකෙන් තවත් ඉස්සරහට ගියොත් මේ see the third group. Come, that is the base form. Past simple, past tense came. Past participle, come. Again, it goes to the base form. became, become, run, ran, run. So it is again you see a set of irregular verbs. And then when you talk about this one, group 4, it's entirely different. Base form B. B එක අස්සේ ඉන්නවා am, is, are. So that is the only verb in English which has 3 forms for the base verb. So learn that well. There's no other verbs that exist with 3 forms. Only verb B. මේ verb B එක සමහර තැන්වලදී verb B විදිහටම ඉන්නවා. සමහර තැන්වලදී first person singular. I am කියනවා අපි. Third person singular. She is. Third person plural. They are. අන්න එතෙන්දී වෙනස් වෙනවා. Right? And past simple with am, is, was, and with they, were. And the past participle is been, or give, given, see, seen, right? Go, gone, වගේ මෙතන be, been. And present simple එක ගත්තොත් අපි මැද ගන්නෙ නැහැ. මොකද මේ gerunds ඉන්න හින්දා ing වලට. හැබැයි be එකේ present simple form එක being, 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 not been. Okay? And break, broke, broken, drive, drew, driven. Right? So you see that they are, so base form is different from past simple, and past participle is different from both base form and past simple. So these set of verbs actually, when you learn means, there are lots of exposure, online resources. We've been talking about them and we'll be sharing them every day. We have been sharing them every day, daily basis when we do the classes. So when you do the homework and when you listen to music and when you watch videos and when you do online, when you follow online activities and so on and so forth, you meet these words. You meet the different formation of the verbs. So the more you get exposed, ගොඩක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේවා හසුරවනකොට මේකින් ඉගෙන ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනකොට අවශ්‍යතාවය තියෙන කට්ටිය තමයි ඉතින් රැඳෙන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ මොකද වෙන්නේ ඉතින්? ඒගොල්ලන්ට දැන් මෙතන ඉන්න මේකේ ටේක් පාර්ට් කරලානේ ඔක්කොම ඕන කට්ටිය. ඒකට මේගොල්ලෝ ෆලෝ අප් කරනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා මෙතන හැමදාම යනකොට මේක ලස්සන පැටර්න් එකකින් you can learn and you can come to a self learning state. Independent learner කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් තැනකට එනවා with the resources that we provide through our program designed by Silpa Foundation, right? So then you see the speak, spoke, spoken, right? So you can master these words, automatically, then bhashavak, it's like you learned your mother tongue, English, Tamil, or whatever, right? So just like that you learned the words appropriately, how to use them appropriately. So these words also, when you read, write, listen, and speak, you get used to them automatically. Right? So you can go to this link that we have given and you can see some of the tips too. Okay? Right. Hope you learned some interesting points based on the lesson, today's lesson verbs. Okay? And shall we see something, some videos? Or shall we do an exercise? What do you prefer? A test? Shall we? A small test? Yes, you can answer and I will share the screen. Best. Okay, can you try out? Yes. Had they finished before you arrived?
Past simple.
Past simple. Is it? Is it past simple? Had they finished? Yes, of course. Finished is past simple. Finish, finished. What is the past participle of finish? Here, see, had is there. With had only it's used. Then can that be, could that be past simple? Or is it past participle? Had they eaten? If I say had they eaten, because this is a regular verb, that is why you get confused. Finished, past tense is finished, and past participle is also finished. But when it comes to, yes, another verb like eat, past tense is ate, past participle is eaten, irregular verb. So then can that be past simple? What is this verb? Then it is past participle. Is that clear? You see, had is there. Past, yes, past perfect tense. This is in past perfect tense. So after in past perfect tense, we'll be learning them later on. The verb is past participle. Okay, right. I finished before they arrived. Past simple. Right? I finished eating before they arrived. I finished my homework before they arrived. Then it's correct. Next one. I asked your brother to drive us there. What is it? Yes, is it past simple or present participle or what? Drive. Is it base? Yes. It is base because it's right after infinitive too. So we talked about this at the beginning, the first column, right? Right. It's in the first column. And for this, we call the base form as well as the infinitive. Infinitive too. Okay, so let me share that link also with you. Then you can test on your own later. Right? Okay. Right. So if you have any questions, you can ask at the end of the session. Or if you want it to be clarified right now, you can ask any of the questions that you have with you. Right? And yes, let's do what else do you want to do? Shall I share a link to some of what? Have you watched Rapunzel and some of the other movies and audio visuals that we've shared with you? because they are quite important when you want to learn the pronunciation of the natives, and when you want to familiar your ear with different people speaking English, right? So for that, I will share another link based on one of the most famous fairy tale. So you can see that on YouTube, Frozen. Okay, and at the very beginning, when I was introducing the parts of speech, I told you the best book ever that you can learn them is by reading The Old Man and the Sea. So once again, I repeat you to read that. You can download the PDF from the link that I provide. And yes, and shall we learn more about another in depth? Let's learn about one category of verbs, which are helping verbs. Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So you see the helping verbs. Yes, helping, as the word itself tells, they help. Upakaraka kriyapada. Right? And helping verbs have no meaning on their own. If you take the verb will, can you give a meaning for that? Will එකට meaning එකක් තියෙයිද? හැබැයි අපි දන්නවා ඒක future tense එකකින් use කරන්න ඕන. අනාගතය අඟවන්න use කරනවාමයි කියලා එක පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳලම අපිට ඔළුවේ තියෙන දෙයක්. නැත්නම් දැන් ඉගෙන ගන්න. Will. හැබැයි it doesn't have a meaning. Right? But you cannot give the meaning without that verb. Right? Helping verbs have no meaning on their own. They are necessary for the grammatical structure of a sentence. Am, is, are, verb B එක ඇස්සේ තියෙන. ඒවට meanings තියෙනවද? නෑ, but they are verbs. හැබැයි එකක් හැලුනොත් වැරදි. Grammatically it's wrong. So these verbs are helping verbs. Can, could, may, might. Meanings තියෙනවද? No. Right? So these are called helping verbs. And another word we give for that is auxiliary verbs or model auxiliaries. Right? එතකොට primary helping verbs තියෙනවා කොටස් 3ක්. There are 3 verb types, primary helping verb types. Right? So if you see them, for example, verb be. I told you that I will talk in detail. So this is verb be. So this is the only verb in English which has 3 forms with simple present tense, in the base form. Verb be කියලා තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් am කියලා ඉන්නවා. I එක. am කියලානේ කියන්නේ. She is, he is, it is, they are. Past tense එක I was, they were. And future tense එකේදී I'll be there. I will be there. Will ඊට පස්සේ base form එකක් කියන්නේ helping verb එකේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි ගත්තොත් continuous tense එකේ යමක් කරමින් පවතිනවා කියන එක අඟවන්න. Like he is watching TV. He watching TV කියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒතකොට වැරදි. Grammatically wrong. So you have to put this verb is, which has no meaning, but it helps to exist. The verb watching. Watching is here. Is it past or past participle or base? Present participle. Verb එක. To exist වෙන්න මේ is කියන එක help වෙනවා. ඒකට පවතින්න උදව් කරන උපකාරක පදය තමයි ක්‍රියාපදය තමයි is. So it's a helping verb. Right? Small fish are eaten by big fish. අපි කර්මකාරක passive voice. කර්තෘකාර. right? ඒකෙදී passive voice එකේදී අපි use කරනවා. එතකොට passive voice, when we are learning the passive voice tenses, we will learn how this passive verb is formed. But anyway, to form the passive verb එක කියන්නේ මේ eaten නෙමෙයි. ඒක තනියම ඉන්න බෑ. මේ eaten කියන එකට third verb columns වල අපි දැක්කනේ third part එක මතකද? මෙන්න මේකට තනියම ඉන්න බෑ. මේකට helping verb එක support එක ඕනමයි. right? එතකොට මෙන්න මේවා ඕන වෙනවා. right? So eaten by big fish. And also in past present participle, past participle, right? With those verbs, when you form perfect tense, can be present perfect or past perfect, right? Then we use has, had, have been, had been, right? So then again you use this have. So it is a have is also a helping verb. I have finished my homework. එතකොට I finished my homework කියන්නේ මම වැඩ කරා yesterday. The difference I will be teaching is the difference between past tense and perfect tense. I have finished my homework. මම කරලා තියෙන්නේ. කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියන එකයි කරා කියන එකයි වෙනස්නේ. Yes, we'll learn in depth how to use that. Let's clarify and be confident with perfect tense and difference between past tense and perfect tense. If you just stick around with me with this course. And then do, does. Do. I don't like, negative. They don't like. She doesn't like. She does like, right? So they also help. I do not like. She does not like. So this, to form the negations, you definitely have to use one of the helping verbs. But do, of course, here you see that it has a meaning. But does, yes, it is the, when you use with singular subjects, use does. So you see do, like go, goes, D-O-E-S. Do, does, D-O-E-S. That is how it is formed. And again, it's a helping verb. Right? And definitely when you want to ask questions, when you form questions, so these words are very essentials, helping verbs. Do you want some tea? I want some tea. Of course. Do ek nae, කොහෙද දන්නේ. But when you want to make the question, do you want some tea? Right? Then I told you, when you want to emphasize, I do like tea. I like tea. එච්චර ගානක් නෑනේ. මම ටී වලට කැමති. ඔය කියනවා. I do like tea. ඒ වලට හරිම කැමති කියන එක තමයි එතනින් mean වෙන්නේ. I like tea very much කියන එකට වඩා I do like tea කියනට අර meaning එකම වගේ එනවා ඊට වඩා වැඩියෙන් බර දානවා අපි. අවධාරණය කරනවා. Right? So that's something important you have to learn. So to stand for a main verb in some constructions, like ප්‍රධාන ක්‍රියාවට අපි ආධාරකයක් දෙන්න දානවා. He speaks faster than she does. So this is somewhat, complex type. But anyways, just here, she speaks faster than Nimal. Sunil speaks faster than Nimal. So that, of course, you know. Sometimes you may not know, but when you compare, right? He speaks faster. Sunil speaks faster. That's the main sentence, right? Main verb because speaks. එතකොට ඒ speaks කියන එකට අපි support කරන ආධාරකයක් වෙන්න දානවා නම් අපි speaks කියන එකම repeat කරන්නේ. Sunil speaks faster than Nimal does. Nimal තර කියන ක්‍රියාව. මොකක්ද ක්‍රියාව මෙතන speak. Right? So there again you see some of the helping verbs. So this is a very important lesson. As you see, verbs and the types of verbs also. right? And yes, likewise, let us move on to another category of verbs. Right. Yes, linking verbs. Yeah, let's see some linking verbs. Yeah, we discussed about it, right? So here, see, Mary is a teacher. There again, you are using a helping verb. So it links these two nouns, right? So, and it acts here like it links the subject, right? A linking verb does not have much meaning in itself, but here it's not a helping verb. It doesn't help to another verb. So here is acts like a, so you see that some verbs act in many forms. It can be a helping verb and it can be a linking verb also. And it can be a be verb. So there you see Mary is a teacher. It doesn't help any verb, but we know is a helping verb when it comes to present continuous tense or past continuous tense or in passive voice when you form passive verb. Here it links these two, Mary and teacher, to those two nouns. Sitara is beautiful. So Sitara, so this is an adjective. So these two words are linked. The sounds, that sounds interesting. So we talked about how some verbs are formed and stay in, when they are sensitive to our feelings, when they approach our senses. Senses වලට සමීප දේවල් කියනකොට ඒ සමහරක් වචන අපි කියන්නේ simple present tense එකේ. Like sounds. ඒක શબ્දයක් නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි දැනෙන feeling එකක්. That sounds interesting. ඒක හරි ජොලි වගේනේ. ඒක මරු වගේ. එහෙම කියනනේ අපි. ඒකට කියන්නේ that sounds interesting. So it's a linking verb there. That something, it can be a film, that film sounds, that story sounds, that plan sounds interesting. A plan එක නම් නියමයි වගේ. That plan sounds interesting, right? The sky became dark, became, right? හරි එකපාරටම sky එක dark වුණා. Okay? So it links, right? So the bread has gone bad, has. පාන් නරක් වෙලා. Right? පාන් ටික spoil වෙලානේ, right? So the bread has gone bad. ඒක කන්න බෑ සවුත්තුයි කියන්නේ අපි. What are the gone bad? Had gone bad, right? So they link bread bad, right? So we are not talking about has gone here. Bad, it's gone bad. So it's a linking verb there. Okay, so you can notice, and when you go to the main link that I gave you on learn.shilpa64.lk with nouns, you can go to this right here. I gave the link once again. Let me share that with you. So you can go to all the lessons based on verbs. Okay, right. So let me pick another topic. Yes. Yeah, phrasal verbs. So these phrasal verbs, again, which is very important, right? So come in, come out, එළියට යනවා. So come කියන word එකේ, come කියන verb එකේ verb එකයි preposition එකයි එක හැදිච්ච come in, ඇතුළට එන්න. Right? Check in, hotel එකට යනවා නම්, check out, hotel එකකින් පිට වෙනවා නම්, right? And look, බලනවා. Look up කියන්නේ උඩ බලනවා කියන එකද? You cannot separate these two words, the verb and the preposition, and try to get the meaning. It has its own meaning. So you have to master them. You have to, the natives use them like salt because they know it, because that is their native language. But you too can do that if you just read, and if you just watch movies, and if you just listen to broadcasts, some, radio, TV broadcast or English programs, right? Look up means try to get some help from somebody, right? Or give you show respect, right? And look out. Look out means be careful, right? Looking means looking into something, right? And turn කියන්නේ හැරෙනවට. හැබැයි turn in, right? Turn out, turn up. They have different meaning. He didn't turn up today. What is turn up there? Show up. He didn't show up. ආවේ නැහැ. පැමිණියේ නැහැ කියන්න කියනවා. පැමිණියා කියනකොට turn up කියන්නේ didn't show up ගම he didn't turn up කියන්නේ ආවේ නැහැ, absent. So turn up පැමිණීම. Turn out. Turn out කියනවා නිවනවා. කොට අපි ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් නිවනවට වචනයක් නැද්ද? Extinguish කියනවා. Put out කියනවා. Right? Put out. Song එක තියෙනව නේද? Fire කියලා song එකක් අහලා තියෙනවද? ඒක lyrics බලන්න. Right? එතකොට turn out කියන වචනේ හම්බ වෙනවා. එතකොට yes, that is how you have to learn these words, because you may not learn them on your own unless you put an effort. Right? Just hold on for a while for you to the additional resources that we provided, and through the links on Shilpa Saira that I shared, and even you can check this lesson once again when you upload the recordings to the YouTube. So I just wind up the class for today, and thank you so very much for joining us. It's the Saira Foundation, and those who have any questions, and if you have to get anything clarified, you can stay right after the class. Okay, then I wish you a very good night to you all. Thank you.